Let's stop before someone reports us.
Don't worry. The chief lives on the other side of the island.
You take a truck down there now? Do you mind if you're filmed or? No.
Well, my grandfather bought this house in 1930, and we've lived here for 3 generations, no, 4. And in 1974, Universal came to Seascape and asked my grandfather, W.D. Prizer, to if he would like to have a dock built to film a movie. And they thought it was very exciting, and thought it would be great. Well, I arrived in the Vineyard about a month after the actual scenes were filmed, and all of the studio was looking for extras on the beach to be on the beach and lay out. And at that time on the Vineyard, it was much smaller then, so people just hung out and were like excited to come and be on the beach and get paid for it and have food and enjoy it. And no one really realized it was a feature film, so it was a lot of fun. It was interesting.
Are you visible in the film itself, on the beach?
Yeah, I was on the beach when the shark was coming in through the estuary, and they were screaming, "Shark, shark," in the estuary. And there's a second flick of me running in my red shirt, which was fun. But in the meantime, every day I went to the beach, and they said first few days, like, walk in front of the camera for wonderful camera views of people walking in front of it. And at the end of that, they had somebody holding me to not walk in front of everyone.
Did you actually see the mechanical shark?
Yes, I did. It was at the East Shop Beach Club, and the shark was named Bruce, and that was my name, so it was a lot of fun.
What did you think of it when you saw it? I mean, you were how old?
I was 14.
You were 14, so when you see this big mechanical shark, what was your first impression?
They had several of them. They had just the dorsal fins, and they had the tail section. And so they had actually like several sharks.
So the one that was used in your particular scene, that was the dorsal, I think, and the tail that was pulled behind.
Yeah.
I saw an outtake where it kept rising too high, and you saw the little mechanics.
Yeah, the float. They had a lot of difficulty when they filmed it, pulling the one section through the second inlet bridge, because it didn't want to float right, and the currents were very strong, so it was veering off every which way. To make that scene, they had a lot of difficulty. I met Peter Benchley when I was hanging around on the beach. They had a hot dog stand, and there was this little hot dog stand. It looked like you could just go up and order a Coke, and it would be neat. And they had these video machines that you could put money in, but it took you a quarter. And I went up to the hot dog stand one day, and I was thirsty and wanted a hamburger. And Robert Shaw was there, and he was standing there looking at me like, "What's this kid want?" And I'm like, "Well, give me a burger. I want a Coke. Come on." And so I'm standing there, and they're like trying to totally ignore me. And they're like, "Come on, I want a burger." They're like, "Okay." So they didn't want to cook me a burger, but they gave me a piece of apple pie and a Coke. And then we became quite friends. I was like the kid on the beach to talk to.
To a 14-year-old, I mean, people like Robert Shaw were shy. They were nobody to you, I guess.
Well, they were known to me. They were like, "Where do you live, kid?" And I'm like, "The house over there." And they're like, "Oh, we were there when they filmed the dock scene." So they're like, "We hung out in your house. It was a lot of fun." When they filmed the scenes here, they came here, and the house was empty, and they could use the house. And
if we can get back to the dock a second, though, what happened to it? I mean, there was a lamp on it and other stuff.
Well, it was built as a set,
right.
And when they built it, they built it out of oak beams, and they put a bunch of tied together oak beams that weren't really in the sand, but they looked great, really groovy. And then they stained it all gray and tied it up with the ropes, and it looked really pretty. And it went out quite far. It was definitely rickety.
So
Yeah.
your grandfather, he must have liked it. Did he ask that it be left as they built it?
Yeah, they thought it was great because we had a dock there before, which suffered from the same winter storms that ours did. So we were one of the few people that lived on the ocean front here in Oak Bluffs that could have a dock on the water. So the set was the beach houses. They had the cute little beach houses. You can see on the Chappaquiddick Beach Club. There's the little beach houses that you can change in. And then they had a little hut where they had video machines, and they had a little hot dog thing. And that was really big for the island back then. It was really a big thing. The water's quite shallow there, so when they filmed all those scenes, there was probably 75 people out there, and the water's knee deep, and we all had to sit in the water and flap our hands like we're freaking out that the shark is coming to eat this person. It's like if everybody stood up, it was up to your knees. These pictures are from an art student of my grandfather's, and he stayed at the house right after they filmed it. And if you can see right here, it's the end of the dock that was pulled off, and it was tied to the beach. I'm sure a big storm came along and took it. And it was in 1974. And here's the Jaws trucks. They were everywhere on the island at the time. Did a great job with the Avis. That's pretty neat. And then here's a great picture if you see that it's really stormy, and it's definitely hurting the dock a little bit. And then a sunny day where we're sitting on it.